Welcome back to another episode of the Play for Keeps podcast. I'm Cameron Hay at Camera_Hay on Twitter. I'm of course joined by co-host Drew Williams at Dope is Drew on Twitter. And today we have a special guest on this episode of the Play for Keeps podcast. Denver Nuggets. We can still say rookie forward, can we? Or is this like your second season now since it's like we playing in the October, September?
See, I still got rookie duty, so I'm still a rookie, I guess.
All right. Rookie forward, Tyler Cook at IMTC25 on Twitter. How you doing, Tyler?
Man, I'm good, man. Just trying to stay sane in this bubble, bro.
Yeah.
So.
Yo, man, how's life been in the bubble other than, hooping and all that? What have you been doing to keep busy when you're not working and preparing for the opponents and everything?
A whole bunch of shit, honestly. I'm still in school now, so I take classes. I take 2 online classes. I listen to a whole bunch of podcasts, including this one. Listen to a whole bunch of stuff about investments, real estate stuff. Just a whole bunch of stuff to try to keep my mind occupied whenever I'm not on the court. So I just try to find any and everything I could do to, stay entertained and stuff like that while I'm in this bubble. I've been there for almost 3 months, so it's been tough.
Real estate, is that something you want to get into after hooping, or while you're hooping? Is that something that really interests you?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the near future, in the next couple of years or so. Obviously, you got to have the capital to do so first. So I'm trying to stay on the conservative side of all my investments really until I'm comfortable financially and I got all my other stuff taken care of. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. I don't want to just have one stream of income. So do whatever I can do to try to create wealth for myself, my family, and all that. So for sure.
Is that what you are? Is that what you went to school for at Iowa? Is that something that you're?
No.
What
hell no. I still don't even know what I went to school for at Iowa. I studied communications, which is just a bunch of writing and speaking classes and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was, just like more high school basically. For real.
All right, good.
Bro, talk about how different the bubble has felt now that they've allowed families to come in. Does it feel like there's a little bit less tension or not really?
It definitely feels a little bit less like a bubble now, which is a good thing. You see people like families and stuff walking around. You got kids walking around this place now. So, it's definitely more comfortable now, I'd say. I had my parents up here for a few days. They've since left. But I would assume that everybody else said the same thing too. Everybody likes kind of having fresh faces around and stuff. You see all the players, 5-10 times a day each, so it's cool seeing some different people around the bubble.
Has this given you we've seen people say this is like AAU kind of, and like you're walking around this suite or campus and you, like you said, you're seeing other players every day. How different has that been, like seeing your opponents or even just other NBA players on a day-to-day basis and knowing you were going to have to play against these guys?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember after game 1 of this series, we came back. We obviously lost by a ton. We get off the bus and we on the elevator with like the Clippers team. Like they just waxed us an hour ago. You know what I'm saying? Now we're on the same elevator with them, all going to the rooms and stuff. So it's literally just like AAU. We all stand at the same spot. But it's cool though. You get to see guys, really in in a comfortable state. You don't got to worry about media following you around, a bunch of fans and stuff like that. So you really see everybody for who they really are in this bubble. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just a whole different environment than what you probably are used to.
For sure.
I'm about to ask you a real important question. I know this one probably gonna definitely get you to talk your shit a little bit. You played on a Chaminade team that is one of the most loaded teams, if not the most loaded team to ever play in Missouri, your 2015-2016 Chaminade State title team.
Right.
Where do you feel that team ranks amongst like the greatest teams ever to play in Missouri? With the amount of Division I guys that you guys had. How many guys went D1 off of that team?
I want to say 5. I think it's 5.
Yeah,
Myself, Will, Jay, Mike, Jericho. Who else am I missing? Carrington, Davis, That's 7. Oh, it's 6.
6.
Whatever. Yeah. So we was deep for sure.
So how do you feel as you guys ranking amongst the greatest teams to ever play in St. Louis, Missouri? You think you guys could beat anybody? If you
For
guys
sure. Absolutely. I'm putting us number 1.
Number 1.
You know, obviously I'm biased, but you know, for obvious reasons. But you know, we had everything. You know, we had this we had all kind of like every position. You know what I'm saying? Our shortest player on the floor was 6'3". You know, that's our point guard. We had shooting, you know what I'm saying? We had scores in isolation. We had low post guys and myself and Will. You know, we had everything, you know what I'm saying? Athletes, all of that. And especially that 2015, 2016 year, like we knew how to win ball games too. It wasn't just like we was talented young kids. Like in terms of high school, we was vets, you know what I'm saying? We was in our primes in high school. So I'm taking us over any and everybody. I'm not saying like it'll be a good game, especially with all the Brad's teams. Like Brad was cold in high school. You know what I'm saying? Cam, B-Shot, you know, all those dudes. You know, it was cold too. But I'm taking my team over everybody.
As expected.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
I got to, and it'd be different. Like if my team was like okay, and I felt like we would lose, I'd say that. But I'm not.
Yeah, y'all.
I'm not. I don't think it's too many people that's gonna beat us.
No, y'all was crazy. Did y'all lose it? Y'all didn't even lose a game inside of Missouri. You see?
No. We waxed everybody.
I didn't lose a game inside of the state that whole season.
Nah, yeah, it got ugly when we played at home.
Yeah, facts. I remember I came to see y'all play Ritter in y'all shootout at Chaminade.
Yeah.
And I remember the first game y'all played them earlier that year was kind of like close. I think it went to overtime or something.
Yeah, it went to OT because me and my coach had got into it, so he benched me for the fourth and overtime. You know, obviously Jadam had a great game, but because I was out, they was able to throw 2-3 bodies at Jay whenever they wanted to. So you know, they took it down to the wire. We still got the dub, but you know, after that, y'all know how St. Louis is. Everybody talking crazy, talking about Ritter about to beat us at our own crib. About like 40. It got ugly quick.
Yeah, I remember it got ugly fast. I was in the car. I was like, yo. I remember like Jason made like his first 4 or 5 threes or something crazy in that game, and they just couldn't stop y'all at the rim either. It looked like y'all didn't even belong on the same court, which was wild.
That's exactly what it was. They didn't belong on that floor with us. We was not going to play around. Because normally we played around with everybody. The game would be close for the first quarter, the first half, and then third quarter, it'll be a 30-point game. We wasn't even playing with them that day.
No, that was crazy.
Got them out of there quick.
Yo, speaking of Tatum, you guys obviously played together in high school and AAU. I know you were around him like on a daily, but did you think he'd be an all-star, like all-NBA player this early, or did you?
No, I did for sure. And I'm being 100% honest with you. When I first met Jay, we was in 8th grade, and that was my first year at Chaminade. Obviously he was already in the top whatever in the country. But then I seen this dude play for the first time when I was in 8th grade, and it was like he was head and shoulders above everybody. Like it wasn't even close. Like his skill set, you don't see no 14, 15-year-old kid doing the kind of stuff that he was doing. And this is before he could even shoot the way he shoots now. You know what I'm saying? He could still shoot the ball, but it wasn't like what he's doing now. You know what I'm saying? But you could just tell from an early age that like he had it. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like I always got to school early because I lived 30 minutes away, so I had to drive a little distance. So I get there early, and Jay coming in from the gym. You know what I'm saying? So like he not only does he have the skill, but like he works his ass off too. Like from the time we were 14, 15 years old, every day he in the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was like that throughout high school. And he just kept getting better. And then by the time we was like seniors, I'm like, it's like I knew as soon as he gets to the league, like he's like coming for heads off rip. It's not like he ain't about to be no regular rookie. Like that's why like when he like the playoffs in his rookie year, like I expected that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just what he'd been doing his whole life. So I definitely knew, from an early age that he was gonna be like that.
Definitely. And you and Tatum, y'all both played for the Eagles, now the Bradley Bill Elite.
Yeah. And
obviously Brad went to Chaminade too. What do you think is the most important thing Brad has taught you personally?
Oh man, well, Brad, really the biggest thing that Brad taught me, and he didn't even say nothing to me, but it was just like the fact that he, cared so much about pouring back into us, in the city, in terms of giving us the best team and organization that we could play for. He was there, hands on deck, making sure that we was doing everything the right way. The players, the coaches, he was there like coaching us on the sidelines, like, telling us, little bits and pieces to clean up in our games. He was just there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you see guys that may have a AAU team, they not even there, or they'll come to a game or two to show their face and they be out. But Brad was really invested in the youth, you know what I'm saying, which was us at that time. So it really just taught me to stay, attached, to stay tapped into, wherever you came from. And to make sure you're still giving back to those, to the younger generation. So that was dope, especially from a young age, seeing Brad, being there so much. At that point, I'm in 8th grade, and I didn't know Brad personally then. About 8th and 9th grade year, it was just dope because we had an NBA player coaching us, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But now you look back and see how important that was. Because some of the stuff that he taught me, helped me get to where I am now. You know what I'm saying? So it was dope, and then obviously being able to play against Brad this year, swap jerseys and stuff like that, and to see, how far we came from that point is dope for sure.
Yeah, and then like when you know a guy from your city of that stature and then become an all-star, goes to the league, like see him do it, that's one thing. But then when he comes back and just like, and you as a kid, you could like see it and like you could actually like touch him, like you right there, you see it's like even more possible or attainable probably.
Facts, man, that's huge, especially because like at that point, I didn't know I didn't have a scholarship at that time, so I'm like, I'm not even thinking about the NBA. I'm trying to go to college. You know what I'm saying? So, but seeing him, like you said, seeing him come back, like that just kind of lets you know that okay, this dude is really, you know what I'm saying, he been through all of this. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of gives you extra motivation and gives you some hope that you know what I'm saying, that's not really just no dream, but you can actually achieve some of this shit.
Yeah, and like you said, you didn't have a scholarship yet. You talked about how Jason was at 8th grade, ranked super high.
Yeah.
You kind of like were more of a, I don't want to say a late bloomer, but it took you a few years. But you ended up a top 60 kid in your class by the time your senior year rolled around and it's time for you to graduate.
Yeah.
What made you pick Iowa over like schools like Kansas that were recruiting you, or like the local school like Mizzou? What was it about Iowa that ended up making you commit there for college?
Yeah, so by the time I was a senior, well, I got my first scholarship offer when I was a sophomore from Illinois State, and they offered me, and then right after that, I got an offer from KU because we was at a team camp, and I went off, the last few days, and Bill Self offered me on the spot, but then I left, started playing, back in the AU circuit in the July period or whatever, and then that's when my offer started rolling in. And Iowa was my third one. So from my sophomore year up until the time I committed, Iowa had been recruiting me. KU was kind of up and down. They'll call me a few times a week and then they'll stop. You know what I'm saying? So when I started seeing like schools doing that, I'm like, I'm cool on them because they don't really need me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wasn't the type of dude to where like I was finna go in there and have everything handed to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I wasn't even ranked until like my junior senior year. So I'm not one of them dudes yet. I don't got the luxury of just going somewhere and, having the shit made for me. So I wanted to go somewhere that needed me, right? So by the time I get to my senior year, I'm like ranked like 35th in the country or something like that. So I got like a somewhat of a name for myself. I had like 20 plus offers, you know what I'm saying? And my final three was Florida, Iowa, and Iowa State. Billy Donovan left Florida and took the OKC job, and what's his name? Fred Hoiberg left and took the job in Chicago. He was a Iowa State coach, and so Iowa was my choice. My choice was made for me. I'm not saying that was the last choice, but that was the three that I had. Those were the three that I was like considering. Then other two kind of dropped off, so that was that. Then I ended up going to Iowa. Plus, it's 3.5 hours from the crib. My family could come see me play whenever they wanted to, and that was important for me too. So ended up working out pretty well. I got there. I knew they was going to have to play me, you know what I'm saying, because they didn't have a lot of pieces. They had a huge senior class graduating and leaving. So, I had everything I needed there.
Facts. And so you spent 3 years at Iowa. And every year you were there, you were a double-digit scorer. Like you said, you came in, you knew they were going to need you.
Right.
you averaged, I think, 12 points immediately as a freshman, and then your rebounding went up every year while you were there as well. Did you have it in your mind by the time your junior year came around and you realized what type of player you were that you were leaving immediately after your third year, or what made you decide that you didn't need to come back for your senior year play?
So I knew after my sophomore year I was going to leave after my junior year because I put my name in the draft after my sophomore year. Had a handful of work. I think I had like 6 workouts for teams. Didn't get invited to the combine, none of that. But I had good workouts. From that, after that, I pretty much knew and understood, what it was going to take for me to get to this level. I had a ton of great mentors and people helping me out. Obviously, at this time, Jay was in the league. I had Brad. I had spoken to David Lee. We ran into each other at Chaminade a couple of times. And Jahadi White, other guys, just everybody, from our community that had been there. I had those people kind of that had my back. So I was able to, tap in and get a bunch of information from different places. But then after, when I decided to go back for my junior year, I knew what I had to do. And so I knew at that point, my team knew, my coaches knew that my junior year is about to be my last year and I'm getting out of here. Because for me, it wasn't even like, I'm dead ass here. Like they knew, I told them when I came back, like this is my last year. But at that point, like I knew what I needed to do. So like for me, I'm not like, in college, I could have went, back for my senior year and had 25 a game, 10, 12 rebounds, whatever, had a bunch of awards. But my role in the league was going to be the same no matter what, my numbers look like in college.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rebounder, defender, finisher, pick and roll guy, whatever, until my role expands after I put in my time as, doing this role. So once I knew that, I'm like, there's no point in me coming back from my 4th year. I know what I got to do going into my junior year. So I did that and left. So, that was my mindset going into it. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't about scoring a ton of points. It was about me winning games, to show that I'm a winner. So we did that. We got to the tournament, did my job, and my job directly correlated to what I'm doing now.
Thanks. And during your time in the Big Ten, before you had left to go to the league, like you played in the Big Ten, it's a Power 5 conference, one of the best conferences in college basketball.
Yeah.
A player, like, while you were in that conference, stood out to you the most, like gave you the most, like just stood out. Trouble. You gave you the most trouble, or just like, do you remember just being a level above what you had normally had seen before you had got to that level?
It's tough. I'll pick 2 players, both from Michigan State, actually. Miles Bridges, because like he wasn't like the most dude, but Miles' energy like was crazy. Like his motor on the floor, his energy, like that was your whole job. Like just trying to stop him, stay in front of him, like keep him off the glass. Because no matter what, if he made 5 threes or none, like he's going to impact the game like crazy. Yeah. So like that was one dude that I always respected because I knew that every time he stepped on the floor, like he bringing this shit and all of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the second dude was Cassius Winston. Cassius' basketball IQ was through the roof. Like some of the passes he made, how he's able to set his team up. Like they really looked to him like he was Tom Izzo on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever he said goes. Like he got everybody in the space they need to be. Ran the show. You know what I'm saying? Pushed the tempo every single time. It was like clockwork for him. So it was those 2 dudes I respected a ton. You know what I'm saying? Because I was never able to beat them. I got close twice, but I never could do it. But those 2 dudes were, especially together, like it was a problem.
Yeah. And Bridges was he was in the same high school class as you, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's in the same class, yeah. So you had seen him in high school as well. He is the same type of player every time you played him, even from high school through the time at Michigan State, or
even more so at Michigan State. Like everybody in high school, like, want to score the ball. So, he'd take more, jumpers and, obviously he was always super athletic, but he wasn't the Michigan State Miles Bridges in high school. He was still like, energetic doing what he had to do, but, Tom Izzo, like, brought the best out of him. So I played with him and Cassius, and against them before we even got to college. Cassius was in our class too. So they was both. They've been problems for a while.
And so, like you said, you did 3 years at Iowa, and you knew you were going after your junior year, and everything has worked out for you because you made it into the league.
Yeah.
You started off the season. The first NBA team you were with was the Cleveland Cavaliers, correct?
No, I actually I signed with Denver the night of the draft. I ended up breaking my ankle after the combine, like a few days after the combine. So I couldn't do any draft workouts. So Denver signed me the night after the draft. I went undrafted. They signed me, ended up being in Denver for all of training camp. And then like a week before the season, they waived me. Cleveland signed me off of the waiver. So I spent the majority of the year with Cleveland. And then once I got done with my two-way, I was traded to Oklahoma City G League team. So I played with OKC Blue for like a month. And then, the pandemic, happened, and then ended up signing back with Denver. So that's where I am now.
So, all right. So can you tell us like the difference in you just had a crazy journey, first of all, throughout your season. And also going from, you said start off with Denver, you didn't really play with them, and then going to Cavs, playing with a team that's like a developmental team pretty much. A lot of young guys, like you said, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Kevin Porter, guys, and then yourself, really young, and now you're on the Denver Nuggets, who was a contender, and you're in the conference semifinals. Like, how much of a roller coaster has it been for you in your rookie season, just going through those two different types of teams and expectations?
It's nuts. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I don't know who else in the league. I'm sure it's, plenty of dudes, but I've had the craziest rookie season, ever. I done been on every single kind of contract. I'd have been cut, waived, what I'm saying, all of this stuff. But it was definitely a difference going from Cleveland, like you said, a developing franchise or developing team to a title contender in Denver. It's definitely a difference. You just see, in like the day-to-day stuff. Obviously, we have all the pieces and stuff, but the way practices and games are ran and coached. The approach that the players take. The vets like we have here versus a super young team like it was in Cleveland. Yeah. It was a lot for me to take in. I'm still trying to take stuff in and figure it out so that I can lead a situation, having learned and gained something. You know what I'm saying? But just to say the least, it's been crazy, man. It's been a hell of a first year, but I'm thankful that I'm here, though, man. A lot of people don't get here, so I'm just trying to stick around.
And so, with that in mind, saying how you're trying to stick around and you're grateful that you're here, when the season stopped and it got announced that it was going to restart, and like you said, Denver gave you the call to re-sign you for the remainder of the season, did it ever go through your mind of opting out like some of the other players did, like to choose not to play going back to Orlando, or was it always in your mind that if I got that call, I was going back down there?
I was going to play, like, especially at that point, like financially, like I need to go play. You know what I'm saying? This is my first year in the league. Didn't even get a full year's worth of paychecks under my belt yet. But after that, I was like, yeah, if I get a call, like I'm going to play, like for sure. So once they called me on like 7 at night, like I think it was like a Thursday or something like that. They called me like 7 at night. I was on a plane the next morning at 6 a.m. Like, dog, I packed all my shit that night. I was on the plane like 12 hours later, dog.
Going to Denver.
You said what?
You flew straight to Denver, or did you go?
Yeah, straight to Denver.
That's crazy.
Talk about the environment of the bubble. Does like the noise that they're like pumping in, does it really feel like people are there, or is it mostly?
Hey, bro, it actually does. Like, if you don't, like, it's crazy because like you look around, it's like 13 people in the whole gym. Like,
right,
it's like empty, but the noise is like it pretty much sound like authentic. You know what I'm saying? So just in the moment, like if you just locked into the game, like I don't like call myself chanting on defense with the crowd, like it's a crowd, and you know what I'm saying? Whole time it's the speakers, like it's crazy, but they did a good job with that to where I actually feel like you in the game and it's a crowd there. You know what I'm saying? So, I actually just realized it like a few games ago, like towards the end of the Utah Jazz series. I'm like, yo, they actually got like this fan noise is real.
Bro, it sounds crazy on TV, bro. Like we watch it and it sounds like a real NBA game. Like
bro. Yeah, they did a good job. They did a good job with everything down here, man. The setup down here is incredible. Big ups to the league for doing that. It's dope.
Yeah. Speaking of that Utah-Denver series, in the first round, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell. When you think about it, the most dynamic scoring matchup, you got to put that up there as far as like all time.
Probably is the highest so far.
2 50-point games,
Yeah,
bro.
and they both had a
Man,
have you ever seen anything like that where like two guys are going at it over time? Like it ain't just one game. Like they were going at it for games.
Bro, that was like the craziest stretch of basketball I've ever seen in my life. Like hands down. Like, because like you said, it wasn't just one game. Like it was night after night after night. Like they was going at it, bro. Like, and the type of shots that Jamal and Donovan Mitchell was making, bro, it's ridiculous. That series cannot be forgotten. Like we gotta like steady remind people about what those two dudes did that 7-game series, bro. It was incredible. Like it's only a handful of people in this league that can do what they did. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of series that lets you know, like, okay, that's the difference between good and great. You know what I'm saying? Those dudes, that series is going down like all time, like one of the greatest series that you can see.
Facts. Like whenever they do the inevitable 30 for 30 or whatever on the whole bubble,
There's got to be in there.
that's going to happen. Yeah, whatever documentary or whatever they do about this unique environment and circumstance, that will definitely be mentioned.
It has to, bro. That was, man, that's like the epitome of must-see TV. That shit was crazy, bro. I will never forget that in my life.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, y'all were down 3-1 as the in the like what was like the mood in the locker room, bro? Was everybody just like we're gonna take it game by game, or was everybody aware like, all right, we got a win or go home mentality? We gotta,
Yeah, it was like we obviously everybody understand like when you down 3-1, it's very unlikely that you're gonna come back and win the series. But it was weird because like even after that, after we went down 3-1 after game 4, we was down a lot, but we were like, it didn't feel like we was out of it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you lose, like you feel like, hey, we ain't had no chance. But sometimes it's like, man, if we just figure this shit out, like it's over with. And that's how we felt. You know what I'm saying? We felt like we had the better team by far. You know what I'm saying? But obviously Utah Jazz is such a good team, like together, collectively, that it's hard to stop them. But like we was like, man, we just figure this out, like defensively, stick to like who we are identity wise on offense. Then we can handle this shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to worry about getting to game 7. Let's just win game 5. You know what I'm saying? Won game 5. Let's get game 6. Boom. And all of a sudden, pressure's on them game 7. You know what I'm saying? So after we figured out, the stuff that they were doing offensively, we got a ton of great defenders on this team. Everybody locked in. Obviously, like we was talking about earlier, Jamal went nuts. You know what I'm saying? Nikola was Nikola. We had guys making shots. So I don't think we never felt like we was out of it, like for real. We just understood that if we, trigger off another game, we going back to the crib. But like we got to lock in and try to figure this out, or else we going home.
Yeah, no, definitely a roller coaster. And what's weird is like right after y'all got out of that game 7, y'all hopped in and started with the Clippers, and you talked about it earlier. They pulled away and got y'all with fresh legs and everything. And then game 2. You guys are in complete control of the whole game from tip-off.
Yeah.
3 back and forth. How much detail do you like? You in there with Mike Malone and all of them every game. How much detail goes into the in-game adjustments where you're trying to prepare for the next game?
Man, it's a ton. Like you have to really be locked in. Especially in the playoffs because you're playing against the same team. At least 4 times in a row. So. You got to be locked in and you got to try to get any and every kind of advantage you can to win games. You know what I'm saying? Because we know them, they know us. We know all their plays, they know all our plays. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to find like any and everything you can do to gain an advantage on your opponent, to win a game. I think Coach Malone's one of the best in the business at identifying those things and getting the guys to, to adjust and make those changes. But like you said, we was down. Like we got our asses kicked game 1, game 2. We had to do. Came back, made 1 or 2 adjustments, and boom, we up 20 in the first quarter. So it's like the little stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into a basketball game, but you can, figure out those few things that you can do, and it could change the whole dynamic of the series. So
facts. And like with the Utah series, like Drew said earlier, you guys were a 3 seed, so you guys were favored from the public anyways, and everybody was picking you guys to win. And now you're coming into this series with the Clippers, where it seemed like everybody's picking them as like the team that's going to win the championship. Do you guys come in with a different type of confidence, knowing that you came back from 3-1 already? Like, of course, you guys thought you can beat anybody, but does that give you a different type of edge once you one of the few teams to ever really come back from a 3-1 deficit? Like,
for sure. Like, it's like we done did, like we just did what's basically impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was 11 teams in history that did that before we did it, last week. So at that point, we understand that no matter how much we down, like, you just got to keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Because we down now. Perfect example. We go down 2-1 last night. Ain't nobody stressing. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, we wanted to win that game, but we gave ourselves a win. They made a couple plays that we didn't. Boom. We understand. We watch film today. We get better. We move on. Like, it's not like we like, damn, bro. Like, it's shit over. No. Like, we, you know what I'm saying? Because what we just did against Utah. Like, there's no like stressing about this 2-1. We just, like, our mindset is we're gonna go ahead and even this shit up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So, having been through that Utah series, like, gave us a whole different kind of like mindset, in my opinion, at least moving forward in terms of facing adversity and stuff like that.
100. And like, you just playing with this team that full of professionals, like guys that are, even though you guys are considered a young team, they made the playoffs last year. You're in the playoffs again this year, so they know what it takes to win and be successful at a high level.
Right.
Like, the main thing you've been able to like take from this group in this time that you've been there, as far as that you'll be able to carry with you as far as being a better professional going forward? Has there been anything that you learned in this short amount? Well, you said you've been there 3 months actually with them, so it really hasn't been that short. But
yeah, it's I was here for training camp, which is a long process too. So I know these guys, pretty well.
Yeah.
But like, everybody on this team like understands their job and does their job. You know what I'm saying? Nobody tries to do nothing outside of what they asked to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's huge, especially for a team that has championship aspirations like we do. Everybody knows their role and does their role to the best of their ability. And when everybody does that, we more often than not, we win in games. So everybody's, like you said, super professional. They do what they ask to do. You don't see when guys coming out, like, they don't be mad and off to the corner and complaining and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
You come out, you know what I'm saying, boom, dap everybody up. You understand you got to be ready because you're going back in. So like, everybody does their job and takes pride in doing their job. I think that's one of the reasons why the Nuggets have been so successful. Not even this year, but last year too. Like, they got a bunch of guys that are bought in and understand what we need them to do on the floor to be successful. Right. So that's, like you said, that's something that I'll take with me for the rest of my career, especially knowing that, like, okay, I got a job, I got to do this in order for us to be the best that we can be.
And yeah, that's from like a professionalism standpoint, but from a specific like skill set standpoint, you are playing on a team with a guy like Paul Millsap, and you guys have basically identical type of body type. And then even a guy like Jeremy Grant, who's slimmer than you, but he's a guy who can like play inside, play a little bit outside. And right. Is there anything from their games that you are learning or trying to implement within your own skill set in your rookie year that you will be able to take forward going forward the rest of your career? Is there anything from just playing with high quality veteran guys like that?
For sure. I remember before training camp when I was in Denver, we would just have open gym like every day, and I would guard Paul. And every time he had the ball, I'm quicker than Paul, I'm faster than him, I jump higher, like physically, like I'm more athletic than he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But every single time he had the ball, he had to step on me, and I could not figure out how he did it. You know what I'm saying? So like, it took me it was almost 2 weeks till I'm trying to figure out, like, how was this dude like steady kicking my ass? You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't figure it out because I'm thinking, okay, I just got to be quicker than him and beat him there every spot, and I'm good. But like, the thing with Sap is, like, he's so like deceptive. He knows how to get his body, like, because once you like on the side of him, like, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? Because he uses his body, and he has such great pace with what he does that he's able to trick you. You know what I'm saying? Like, his fakes are like, he sells every single one of them. You got to honor his shot fake because he can shoot the hell out of the basketball. And then he finishes well, like one of the best finishers at the rim, in the league. And he don't even be dunking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he just got great touch around the rim. And so afterwards, I obviously sat down with him and talked to him a bunch of times, trying to figure that out. But he was, just watching him and hearing from him, and seeing how he plays the game, the kind of pace that he plays with, how he sells all his fakes and all that, and uses his body. Because rarely, especially nowadays, Paul's not going to be the more athletic dude in his matchup. You know what I'm saying? But he always is successful because he knows the game, he knows how to play, and he knows how to beat his defenders and stuff. So that's something that I've already gotten a ton better at, since I was there in training camp. So that's helped me out a lot because at first I was just trying to use my speed and quickness and strength to try to beat everybody. But now I understand like it's more that goes to it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be creative and understand angles and change the pace and all that kind of stuff. So I've definitely put that in my game, and I'm still working on it now.
Facts.
Yeah. All right. Not to backtrack too much, but we talked about you guys being down 3-1 and how you guys literally could be, voted off like an island damn near. Like they come and tell you your bags need to be packed, like we're gonna take you out. When that day eventually does come, whether you guys are winning the championship or are eliminated, what is one thing that you want to add to your game to be better prepared for next year, now that you've gotten through your rookie year?
Man, I think it's easy to say shooting. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to be able to to make shots, especially as a role player in this league. But that's not something that, like, people. I think people get messed up a lot when they feel like they gonna become a 40% 3-point shooter in one off season. Like that's not how this shit work. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm gonna work on my shot and all that stuff. But I just want to, like, my IQ for the game, especially in the playoffs, like being here, like, has grown like tremendously. You know what I'm saying? So now, even though I'm not a knockdown shooter, I can figure out ways how to be effective offensively. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's cutting a screen for guys and rolling or slipping my screen, doing whatever I got to do, getting off the glass and pushing it myself. Like, doing that, passing the ball, all that stuff, all the other stuff, that you can use in the game is what I'm, something that I want to continue to keep adding to my game to be successful. In the near future, obviously long term, I've already grown, tremendously in my time here, with my shot. I'm working every day, twice a day, on that. But I just feel like it's important to have short-term goals and long-term goals, you know what I'm saying? Because over time, my shot's going to improve to where, like, you got to, eventually it could run me off. But what can I do when we start up again in December or January to, to keep myself on the floor at all times, So that's kind of where my mind's at right now. It's a whole bunch of stuff I'm working on in the meantime, in between time, to get ready for that.
Yeah, for sure. And then just with speaking of, like, you being a rookie and young, the Nuggets, we talked about you guys have made the playoffs last year, back in the playoffs this year, but there are young guys on the team. Jamal Murray himself, this is only his third year in the league, fourth year in the league. Yeah. And then you see a young guy like Michael Porter Jr., this is his second year, like yourself, Bol. What is the locker room like when you have a team that has that many young guys, and then like guys like Porter Jr. and Murray who are like heavily relied on to contribute, and then you have these veterans as well? Does it make for like the perfect blend in the locker room? Do you young guys keep the older guys like a little bit more loose, or vice versa? Like, how is the locker room dynamic?
It's dope, honestly. And I've been in two other locker rooms with the Cavs and then with the Thunder G League team. But it's perfect in my opinion. Like you said, we got vets, and Paul, even Nikola, Jamal, is 25. But like we got the young guys, myself, Mike, Bo, whoever else it may be, and everybody in between. Like everybody, kind of thinks and acts and carries themselves the same way. And then obviously, having Paul has been there, been around the block for a while. Gary Harris been with the organization for, a handful of years. Yeah. Jeremy Grant's in like year 7, so we got guys that have experience, but like it's not a disconnect in terms of, it's not like you got the old heads over here, then the young dudes doing whatever they do. You know what I'm saying? We all, are together in everything that we do. So it's definitely dope not having no kind of divide, because I feel like a lot of times there's like a divide in the locker room, and I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, but I feel like the fact that we don't have that definitely helps our team chemistry and, our trust and how we perform on the court for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. Like I always wondered that, like being inside an NBA locker room, and then like you said, so many different age ranges on this particular team, and just hearing that it meshes well. You could see on the court that the locker room meshes well because you guys often seem like you're on the same page.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like it's no like clicks, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you go to the team and it's these 3 or 4 dudes that, be around each other a lot, and you got everybody else over here, you got a group over here. Like it don't matter like who I'm with or who I'm around, like we kicking it the same way I'm kicking it with some of the dudes I've known for years on the team. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope for sure. I enjoy being here.
All right. And I have one more question for you. Like one more question, important question. When the boycott went on, was it 2 weeks ago? 3. It's been 3 weeks.
I can't even remember, bro. I've been here for so long. I done lost track of time.
The boycott, when it first happened, and you guys had the games got postponed, you guys had the meeting and everything. Did it ever really feel like while you were down there in the bubble that the season was in jeopardy, or did you guys have it in your mind that we always wanted to continue the season no matter what?
Yeah, I definitely had some doubts in terms of if we were going to, be playing again. But just because like that was a legitimate like reason to stop playing, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that, we should or shouldn't have continued to play, whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But there were guys that didn't feel like they wanted to play, you know what I'm saying? So even if it's half and half or whatever, if you got guys that don't want to play, then as a league, you got to honor that. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a time like this when there's such serious matters going on around the world. If the majority of the guys decided, okay, we don't want to play, then like the players is gonna rock with them. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not just gonna leave half our league out and then the other half start playing again. Like if it got to the point to where like we decided as a league that okay, most of the guys don't want to play, then we wasn't gonna play. And that's how it's gonna go in my opinion at least. But we came to the realization that playing was still gonna be in our best interest. Alongside with doing what we're doing. Saying in our communities, especially the Black community in this country, it was the best route to go. So I definitely felt like it was in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like almost ready to start packing my stuff up because I thought we was going home the next day. But it was in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, but I'm glad we started playing again. I think it's important for us to continue to use the platform that we have here, but now we have to figure out ways to affect change, like seriously. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that's our next step. As a league. Obviously, if we would have stopped playing, it would have affected the CBA and next season and seasons to come after that. But yeah, it was big. It was big. So I definitely thought it was going home.
And do you already have a sense, like since the boycott and afterwards, with the players having new demands for the owners and everything, do you already kind of get a sense that the tide is kind of starting to turn a little bit as far as the owners stepping up and doing more and being more proactive? Do you get that feeling already?
I do. I'm not in all the meetings. I'm not in the PA. But I do. I know the guys that are in charge well enough to know that they're not going to let this opportunity pass us by. Without putting our best foot forward as a union in terms of demanding, that our owners and that our league continue to push for change. So I know that whenever they send us emails or whenever we have a meeting or whatever, like they're coming back with some more solid, action plans and steps forward in terms of what we're doing, as a league to affect change in our community. So I know, even though I'm not there with them, in those meetings and in that room, I know that they're doing everything that they can do for, to fight for us.
100. Well, we appreciate you coming on for this episode, Tyler. We appreciate you a lot, man.
Definitely.
For sure.
No doubt. Appreciate y'all having me, bro.
Thanks. And make sure you follow us at the Elite Media Group _ on Twitter, at Play for Keeps Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and at RNC Radio Live on Twitter and Instagram for all of the podcasts, different content, everything that we have coming in the near future and beyond. Until next time, we're out. Thanks for listening.